Hello, it's Erin. Welcome to your Friday evening yin class. Nice way to wind down at the end of the week. Um, we'll be using a couple props for class tonight, so you'll need 2 or 3 blankets, towels, pillows, whatever to use as a blanket or bolster prop, a strap, and a block. So whatever objects you use around the house. If you don't have yoga props, will be just fine. All right, and we'll get started tonight. Laying on our backs along the strap within reaching distance. Going to let the spine rest on the floor. We'll bring a bend to the knees. Soles of the feet will plant about mat width distance. And then allow the knees to fall in to rest against one another. And hands can come to rest on the floor. Bring arms out wide if you want. Or hands can rest on the body. This is constructive rest pose. And it is a nice alternative to straight leg lying on the back, Shavasana or supine position. It just allows the lower back to release a little bit more. And once you find this shape, we'll begin to tune into the breath. Gently closing the eyes or taking a soft gaze up at the ceiling. Whatever allows you to turn your awareness inward. And first, just noticing the quality of the breath as it is naturally. Feeling the belly rise and fall with your inhales and exhales. Feeling the weight of your body sinking into the earth, and at the same time feeling the support of the earth coming up to meet your body. And as we breathe, just do a quick scan of the body from the top of the head all the way down to the toes. And becoming aware of any areas that feel tense or discomfort. And sending the breath into those spaces. One more inhale and exhale. Next deep inhale, we'll bring palms to the hands to come under the eyes. And then exhale to blink, eyes open, and gently remove the hands. Let the light come back into your field of vision. And we'll take arms out wide, either to a T or to a cactus. Separate the knees, keeping the soles of the feet planted on the floor. And we'll just take some slow windshield wipers with the knees. They can fall over to one side on an exhale. Moving back through center. And inhale. And falling over to the other side on an exhale. Taking this nice and easy. Feeling the hips rock from side to side as you sway the knees back and forth. Massaging out the lower back. And we'll come back to center. And we'll go wrist drop. And we'll move it around the sole of the right foot. Those hands grasping either end. Keeping that left knee bent, sole of the foot connected to the floor. And we'll start to bend and straighten through that right knee. Pressing the sole of the right foot into the strap, creating some resistance. Noticing the sensations in the back of the leg as we do this. And then option to keep right knee straight with the strap connected to the sole of the foot, or bend the right knee, remove the strap, and hold on to right knee with right hand. We're going to start to move that leg or knee out to the right, so we're opening up that leg. So on an exhale, we'll let the right leg fall over to the right, either bend or straight knee, and then bring it back towards center. And then continuing with this motion. Slowly working into opening that inner right thigh. time, right leg falls out to the right, we'll hold here. Try to keep both hips connected to the ground, so avoiding letting the left hip pop up off the ground. Maybe bringing right hand to gently press, or left hand to gently press against that left hip to help with that connection. Breathing here. Next inhale, bring that right leg back to center. And exhale to release that foot back down to the ground, release the strap. And switch sides. So bring left sole of the foot up towards the ceiling, wrapping our strap around, and then start to bend and straighten through the left knee. Pressing the heel up towards the sky, and then hugging, pulling that knee in towards the chest. And then next time that leg is straight, option to keep strap connected to the sole of the foot or bend the knee, using the left hand to guide the leg over out to the side. We'll take that side opening on the left. Inhaling to bring the leg up towards center. And exhaling to slowly drop it down to the ground towards the left. And again, maybe using connecting right hand to right hip to help with that grounding through both sides of the lower back. And then next time that leg is opened out to the left, we'll hold. And maybe you're hovering a little ways off the floor, that's fine. Using the strap to help support the weight of the leg or the arm if your knee is bent. One more inhale. Full exhale. And we'll inhale to draw left leg back to the center. And release the strap, release that foot down to the ground. We'll roll over. Hands and knees. And we'll grab our blankets. kind of high. Lengthwise, we'll be moving into supported child's pose. We're going to have our blankets supporting the upper body in this shape. So we'll bring knees out wide on the mat, toes together to touch, blankets in nice and close towards the hips. And then we'll start to pour the upper body over our props, arms long on the mat. Forehead might reach towards the floor. So your head might land on your supports. You can bring one cheek or the other. Rest on your blankets if that is the case. Feeling the whole body grounding down. The arms, chest, and belly against your support, props, and the lower body. One more full inhale, full exhale. And on your next inhale, pressing yourself back up to hands and knees, sitting back on the heels. And then we'll move the blankets out of the way. Coming back into our regular child's pose without the blanket support. On an inhale from here, we'll press up through tabletop. And then exhale to drop the hips, let the feet come out wide, opening the chest for cobra. Inhale through tabletop. Exhale for child's pose. Inhale to lift. Cobra, wide big cobra. Exhale, child's pose. And continuing with this flow, letting the breath guide the pace of the movement. And maybe lingering in one posture that feels particularly good in your body today. Whatever your body's calling for. I encourage you to go ahead and listen to that. And next next time you sink hips back to child's pose, we'll pause here for a moment. And then on an inhale, we'll walk hands towards the body and press ourselves up to a seat on the heels. And we'll bring knees in close together to touch. So still sitting back on the heels, but closing up that wide stance that we were in. Coming into Hero pose. From here, we'll start to walk hands back behind us. Coming into a reclined hero's pose. And this shape might be as far as you want to go. You might drop down to elbows, or maybe you lay all the way back, letting spine come to the floor, letting the heels slide outside the hips. An option here also to use the blankets as a support behind the back, so we can slide blankets right behind the hips if you want, and lay back. And finding a shape that you can stay in for a minute here. And at any point with yin poses, feeling free to back out of the depth of the stretch that you may have originally chosen. At some point, maybe it becomes too much and you want to lighten it up a little bit. That's totally fine. Or maybe you just want a different sensation. That's also totally fine. Taking one more full breath in our reclined hero's pose. And then our next inhale will start to press back up towards a seated position. Walking hands back in towards the body. And then rocking forward off of the ankles. Just sit back on the hands and hips and take a few ankle circles for a minute here. That's a lot of time. A lot of opening for the tops of the ankle joint. Okay. From here we'll come to starting in a cross-legged seated position. Option here to place a blanket under the hips, to lift up the seat a little bit. We're going to move into either fire leg or cow face legs set up. So For fire log, we'll take right leg, uncrossing the ankles, and stack that right shin right on top of the left shin. So that we're shins are parallel to one another. This is option one. Option two, if you have the mobility in the hips, is to cross that leg back over further and stack knees on top of one another. And you might find, if this is not normally accessible for you, that sitting on the blanket and elevating the hips a little bit will make it more doable. So I encourage you to try that out if you haven't before. From here, taking a few breaths to settle the hips in. And then option to take an arm variation, inhaling both arms overhead, and then exhaling, bending left elbow, dropping right arm behind the back. And then if you can, reaching fingertips toward one another or using a strap to pull the hands together. And from here, maybe you hinge forward from the hips. Or maybe this is your stop right here. Wherever you're starting to feel sensation is exactly where you should be. Keeping the heart open here. One more deep breath. And then we'll exhale, start to release the body with the arms, uncross the legs. Let's take legs up straight and shake up the knees before we move on. And then setting up second side. We'll bring left shin to stack over right, or maybe start to cross the left leg over to stack knees. And then first settling in here, the lower body portion of this pose. And the second side might feel very different than the first side. A lot of times we have imbalances in the strength and mobility and flexibility on each side of our body. And so just allowing that to be what it is and just noticing it and taking the shape that works for this side of the body. And then we'll start to move into arm variation on the side. Inhaling both arms up and exhaling left arm will drop behind this time. Right hand bends behind the head. And then grabbing the strap. If you want to use that. Again, keeping the chest lifted. Thinking about keeping the chin lifted here so that we're not rounding the neck forward or rounding the upper body, being a nice tall spine. And again, this might be different on the second side with the arms than it was on the first side. I have one of my shoulders is significantly tighter than the other, so this side is a lot more challenging for me, and I always notice that when I do this pose. So just how the body is. And breathing into the hips and the shoulders. One more inhale. Exhale. We'll start to release. You bind on the arms, setting the strap aside, uncrossing the legs. And then again, just the knees, hips. Maybe just noticing if there's anything that feels different than when we started class. Maybe a little bit more looseness or opening. Here, we'll come off of our seat. Bring if you've got another blanket prop, we'll stack them on top of each other once again. And then we'll come to straddle our blankets. And you might adjust here as you go. So we'll start with a high setting, and you can take the blankets out depending on how this pose feels to you. We're going to bring these up pretty wide. And ankles will be directly out behind the knees, toes pointing out away from the body, coming into frog pose here. This is a deep stretch for the inner thighs, so we're going to start walking forward onto the elbows, doing a supported version here, so using the blankets to hold up the hips and the lower belly. And if you want to deepen the stretch, you can just start removing blankets. You can take them out entirely if you want and just allow gravity to pull the hips towards the earth. And we'll take one more full breath in frog pose. And then start to walk hands back towards the body, pressing ourselves back upright. Coming down over blankets. And set those aside again. And then coming to a comfortable seat. Send the right leg out long in front of us. Right sole of the, or left sole of the foot connects to inner right thigh. Finding a nice long spine. And again, option to bring the blankets out in front of you for some support. We'll inhale, arms up the sky. And then exhale to fold over right leg. You can really hug the blankets in as close as you need to. Feel some support. Rolling the upper body round over the right leg. Maybe keeping a bend in that right knee if you've got really tight hamstrings. And then inhale, walk hands back towards the body. And then switch the legs out. So sending left leg long, right sole of the foot comes in. The left inner thigh. Tucking our blankets in nice and close. We'll inhale, arms up overhead. And then exhale to round over left leg. Finding any bend in the knee that you need. Let the upper body relax towards the floor. And then inhale, we'll start to walk hands back towards the body, moving back towards feet. And exhale to send both legs out long. And then rolling the spine back down to the floor. And here, We'll take constructive rest pose one more time, the shape that we began class in. So bringing soles of the feet out wide, mat width distance, and allowing the knees to fall in together. And letting the hands rest wherever they may. And then closing the eyes. You're welcome to stay in this shape. Final resting pose. If not, whenever you are ready, you can start moving into your final Shavasana using props, however you would like, perhaps placing blankets under the knees or behind the head. Or whatever shape you've chosen, finding stillness, finding softness, allow the effects of practice today sink in. And starting to deepen the breath, drawing fresh air into the lungs, bringing small movements into the fingers and toes, rolling out wrists, ankles, rocking head side to side, letting that movement travel up the limbs, before inhaling to reach arms up overhead, reach toes long, full body stretch. And then exhale to curl off to one side, letting the head rest on your bent arm. Taking a few breaths here before gently pressing yourself back up to a seated position. Eyes remain closed. Bringing hands to heart center. We'll take one collective breath. Finish our practice today. So exhaling all the air out of the lungs. Sealing the lips, inhaling through the nose. Drawing breath into belly, ribs, and chest. And then sighing it out the mouth. Eyes can gently blink open. And bringing hands to the third eye center. The light and teacher within me honors the light and teacher within all of you. Namaste. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next Friday. All right, have a good weekend.